Town State Historic Park. The park here to our right side reproduces the village that began here in the 1820s with replica buildings and original buildings. As we continue here, we're gonna drive by one of the original buildings from the settlement here. That's the Stuart Machado House, built in the 1830s, and in the 1960s, the great-granddaughter of the man who built the Stuart Machado House was still living here. In the 60s, she sold it to California as the area here became part of the park. On the right side, the white adobe building on the red tile roof. That's the Stuart Machado House. Now, before the settlement began here in the 1820s, Spain was in the area in 1769 to secure the area that already belonged to them for some 200 years, since 1542. For all those years, Spain never felt the need of establishing any presence here in the area they called Alta California or Upper California. But once the king in Spain caught word that Russians were coming this way hunting for fur, things began to change. And in 1769, an expedition arrived here from Baja California or Lower California, today a Mexican state. That area had already been secured, and the expedition here, partially led by Father Junipero Serra, began establishing missions in the area. Father Junipero Serra himself is responsible for partially establishing 9 of the 21 missions that today we find in California. They begin here in San Diego and they go north all the way to Sonoma. Now, one of the things that stands out from the very early reports written about the area here beginning in 1542 is its fair weather. And it became customary for doctors in the 1800s and continued the following day. I just mentioned that a couple of city leaders arrived here in San Diego under doctor's recommendation because of the fair weather as a remedy for those who suffer from tuberculosis. Now, others arrived here in San Diego on account of that same fair weather, not because they were sick, but because here they could better run their business. That's the case of Reuben H. Fleet. Reuben H. Fleet arrived here in the 1920s from Buffalo, New York. In Buffalo, New York, he was building seaplanes, but there he could not test fly those seaplanes in the winter time. And he knows that type of issue is not going to be facing here in San Diego. That's where he arrived in the 1920s to continue to build his seaplanes. In the 1930s, his company became Consolidated Aircraft, which was located here on our left side and was responsible for assembling some 6,000 B-24 Liberator bombers used during the Second World War. On your right side right now, you see these mustard-colored buildings. They are the buildings of Marine Corps Recruit Depot. The young men west of the Mississippi planning on joining the Marines should come here New York to Paris that Charles Lindbergh completed lasted a little over 33 hours. The same type of flight nowadays from New York to Paris takes just a little over 5 hours to complete. At first, Charles Lindbergh tried to purchase an airplane in the East Coast, but the companies there wanted to name the pilot and he couldn't agree to those terms. So the money that he had raised in St. Louis, Missouri with investors there, he began looking for somewhere else in the country where he could either purchase an airplane or a simple one. He found a place here in San Diego. That's where he arrived with the capital he had raised in St. Louis, Missouri, and here he began assembling the airplane that he was going to be using on that pioneering flight, the Spirit of St. Louis. St. Louis, where he met again with his investors, and from there he made his way to New York, then embarking on that pioneering flight across the Atlantic. Here we have at Coronado Navy Base 3 nuclear-class aircraft carriers stationed there. Now here is the thing about the bay and vessels of that magnitude. When the bay first became a port region in the late 1860s, its deepest point here was only 12 feet deep. Ever since then, at several occasions, the bottom of the bay here has been dredged many times. Today, the deepest point of it is a little over 73 feet deep, and that's how vessels as large as the nuclear-class aircraft carriers manage to get inside the bay here. And the product from all that dredging is all along the bay as we go along. Even here where we are driving right now, North Harbor Drive, this is landfill. Originally it used to be waters of the bay.